The aim of our film is to understand the wider issues that disabled people in our community face on a day-to-day basis, and what organisations like the Disability Action in Islington, or the DAII, are trying to do to raise awareness amongst the general public. Did you know that the raised bumps on the pavement are to guide blind people to safe places to cross the road? Or that underneath the pedestrian crossing aids there is a knob that spins to allow deaf and blind people to cross safely? What about signs and tables on the pavement, steps and railings outside buildings? All these simple everyday things are of importance in improving the mobility and safety of disabled people, and it affects more of us than you would think. How many people do you think are disabled in the UK?
About 80%.
66.
About 65.
About 56.
Nah, less than that.
45%.
40.
30%.
30%.
18.
About 15% to some extent.
It's about 13% or something.
5%.
In order to find out more, we spent a day with the DAII.
I'm the Chief Executive here, which basically means that I run the organisation, or I'm overall responsible for the organisation, day-to-day running.
I'm the Communications Manager, so what that means is I'm responsible for communicating our message, our organisation's message, to everybody else.
If you ask people that are involved in DAI, it's just a great opportunity for disabled people to come together. I think, disabled people face a lot of crap out there, and it's really nice to have a safe, friendly place.
We have a very long mission statement, but it really comes down to one line, which is we promote inclusion for disabled people and we challenge discrimination against disabled people. I think the most important function of DAII is involving local disabled people.
An organisation run by disabled people for disabled people, and then we're helping others that are sick, if you like, and there's the self-esteem and the fact that you go home knowing that you've helped someone.
And I come in here for one day back in
10 years ago.
Yeah, 1995,
yeah.
And I haven't looked back since.
That's because they can't get rid of her.
They wouldn't have a chance on getting rid of me, put it that way. They wouldn't have a chance.
You enjoy coming here?
I enjoy it very, very much.
We were officially formed in 1996, so we're still quite young, but we've been continually developing and expanding. At the beginning there was only 2 people working for the organisation, and now there's about 10 and another sort of 4 or so other people that do certain work for us, and we've got a lot of volunteers as well.
The most rewarding thing about working here would be just the involvement with local disabled people and feeling that every day when I come here, the work that I'm doing, even if it's just administration, even if it's typing a letter, it's actually helping somebody that's local, and somebody that will come into the office and say thank you, or you can actually see the effect of what you're doing. So I think that's the most rewarding thing.
I guess for me the most is sometimes just looking around and thinking this is a great place to work, we're accessible, we've got lots of disabled people who've never experienced a sort of positive environment, and hearing individuals sort of say, I never used to be able to speak up and now I can.
In order to find out more, we spent a day with the DAII to find out how St Mary's Church is planning to improve and modernise its accessibility for people with disabilities.
Hi, my name is Balázs. I am the Community Development Manager at St Mary's Church.
There is guidance around changing historical buildings so that you keep within the theme of that building or the atmosphere of that building. And given that there's probably other ways of getting people down here that are as good, I would probably be thinking leave these 2, because there's one on either side alone.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're hoping to get a ramp put in soon so that they can come down. In the meantime, they just wheel them up there and we bring the food out to them, you see.
that's homeless people who are wheelchair users, and they
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So homeless people who are wheelchair users and one homeless person who's only got one leg.
Yeah.
And you want them to be able to come into the crypt.
Yeah, one come to the crypt, especially when the winter's coming, because it's a bit cold sitting out there.
Our access is quite terrible, and because we have a number of users that need help with accessing the building and our services and the services that we provide.
We'll look at that building in its entirety, and we'll think, well, deaf people will want to go in there, people who have got visual problems might want to go in there, people who are wheelchair users might want to go in there, women with buggies might want to go in there, people with sticks might want to go in there, people with arthritis. So we'll try and think about lots and lots of different groups of disabled people, and think about the deaf people are going to need a loop so that they can hear, the visually impaired people are going to need good colour contrast, people with buggies, mobility issues, wheelchairs, they're going to need a ramp. Now, we need to think about where we put that ramp so that the people who are visually impaired don't trip over it. So we have to think about lots and lots of different factors.
We had a number of disabled people using the church, and which at the moment we try to get around by putting in temporary slopes and ramps. But we would hope to welcome more.
Like, got good low-level lighting. It's quite light in here, yeah? But the walls don't provide a good contrast. Because if it was completely open, it would be much more difficult for somebody with visual impairment to actually negotiate their way around.
Right.
So walls and dividers give people who are blind and visually impaired benchmarks for working out where they are. But those radiators are well contrasted against the wall, so that's a good thing. That's called the riser, that bit there, the silver bit. And that's quite nicely colour contrasted against the rest. There could be different types of seating, because lots of disabled people have arthritis and mobility problems rather than use wheelchairs. So having an armrest on a chair helps people get up and down. And the other major group that uses accessible toilets are people with visual impairments. Right. So it's actually quite hard for people with visual impairments to see. The other thing that's worryingly missing is an alarm pull.
Right. So that needs to be fitted and rigged in somewhere.
And probably a mirror on here. And that needs to move. I'm going to move this now. Drives me nuts. How can you reverse in there with that in the way?
Almost 1 in 5 of our population is disabled in some way, and whilst organisations like the DAII do sterling work and provide a much needed community base for all disabled people, it is up to us all to be aware of the needs of others in order to create a more understanding and inclusive community across the country. What can you do to make a difference?